Freddie Gray just won in a string of recent cases highlighting racial tensions and police violence. In just a few hours, Democratic Congressman and ranking minority member of the House Judiciary Committee, John Conyers, will introduce legislation aimed at ending racial profiling. He joins me now. Congressman, thank you for joining me, sir.
What a pleasure.
Thanks so much. A pleasure for me, too. Could you explain what's in your legislation?
Well, what we're trying to do here is, for the first time, federally criminalize racial profiling. And we mandate retraining of officers, and we begin data collection on this subject of racial profiling by police for the first time. And then we collect data and we give grants for good police practices. That's essentially what the bill's about.
Do you think what happened in Baltimore, sir, was the result of racial profiling?
I suspect that it probably was.
And I ask you that difficult question because the neighborhood was largely African American. It has a crime problem, and some people say, isn't it possible, even if Mr. Gray were white, that this could have happened?
Yeah, and you know, we're getting back to the message, all lives matter. And what has happened in predominantly African American communities is that police practices and racial profiling has become a thing that's been going on for decades now. And so I started introducing a bill to prevent racial profiling back in 2001, and have been introducing it in the Congress ever since. Now, with these 8 lives that have been taken, we've got a new look at it, a new approach, a new Attorney General, and so things are moving far more rapidly than in the past.
Well, let me ask you the question this way. The Justice Department, you know, it investigated several of these cases, right? And it ruled out civil rights violations in 2 controversial cases. For example, in February of 2015, the Justice Department said it would not file civil rights charges against George Zimmerman in the Trayvon Martin case. In the Michael Brown case, federal authorities declined to prosecute Officer Darren Wilson. Would your bill do anything to make it easier for the Justice Department to file civil rights charges in such cases?
Well, I think that by making this a federal crime, it changes it, the approach quite a bit. But the bill wasn't aimed to do that specifically or exclusively. What we wanted to do was get a broad prohibition that makes it a criminal matter when racial profiling occurs, and it's a federal crime, and that we think will be very helpful in reducing the number of incidents that occur.
There's another problem that some say we have. For example, we have no idea how many suspects are actually killed by police because they're not required to keep those numbers. Should lawmakers deal with that issue too?
Oh, we do in the bill. We have a data collection requirement, and that will take care of that problem. You're right, it is a big concern if we don't know what the numbers are that we're dealing with on this matter.
Congressman John Conyers, thank you so much for joining me this morning. I appreciate it.
A pleasure, Ms. Costello.
Thank you.